In this moment, it doesn't matter if you save money in 15 minutes or if your neighbor has the same insurance that you do. What matters right now is the quality of your independent insurance agent and the company that stands behind them. Auto Owners Insurance.
Bennett Johnson Insurance Agency in Alma is your local independent auto owners insurance agency.
Welcome to the Red Raider Coaches Show. I'm your host, Joe Hayes, and I'm here with our head football coach, Keith Goss. And Coach, we a little different scenery tonight. Last week we had a little scheduling conflict between myself and Brent Johnson with Red Raider Broadcasting, and so we had to cancel last week. So Raider Nation, we're going to come to you this week, and we're going to try to catch up a little bit here. And we just did it here on set at Red Raider Broadcasting's, I guess, their showroom here,
That's
Coach.
right.
So this is where they do a lot of the news presentations that they do for the school, and so it's a little different scenery for us, being we have not done, well, you may have done your very first one here, but this, for you and I, this is our first one here this year. So anyway, just a little different change of scenery. But Coach, being we're not on location, I want to go ahead and thank some of our sponsors. One of Brent's sponsors for Red Raider Broadcasting, we want to thank Bennett Johnson, and then our Platinum members, which are big ones and that people see on the football field. We want to thank Bacon County Hospital and Health System, Industrial Forge, Blueberry Plantation Inn and Country Club, and Parker Food Mart. Coach, each one of those businesses, I know we say it week in and week out, but we just cannot give them enough credit where credit is due with the amount of support that they give to our program. And you know, it really means a lot, doesn't it? And it goes a long ways.
It goes a long ways to help do the things we want to do to improve this program week by week, and their support means the world.
Absolutely. And Raider Nation, please, I beg of you, if you get out and you see any of these businesses or the people that work at these businesses, let them know how much we appreciate them, and also, you know, do as much business with these guys as you can. I'm going to run down the list also and cover a few more. I'll do our gold sponsors, Coach. We've got Alma Telephone Company, Titan Modular, Daniel and Cassie Moore, Larry Waters Properties, Pineland Bank, State Farm, F&B South, Andy Cawthorn Auto Sales, Clean Air and Electric, Burt CPAs, Southside Church of God, and Lassiter Tractor Company. Coach, each one of those businesses, there's somebody within each of these companies that I think is a major part of our program, not only financially, but, you know, through physical help and what
That's
they
right.
do. You know, Titan Modular, they've been huge in what they've done here, helping us with the building for when we built the new school. Daniel and Cassie Moore, I know Mr. Daniel, he's built some parts for you to fix some of our weight room stuff. You know, Pineland Bank, just everything they do. F&B South, same thing. Both banks in town always, you know, do anything that we ask of them. State Farm, John and Lisa Hughes, they're just priceless to us in what they do. He's vice president of our Touchdown Club, and Miss Lisa, she is treasurer for the Touchdown Club.
That's right. There's a lot of people that contribute, you know, in and around the program. We appreciate everything they do.
Yeah. Some more to touch on there with Andy Cawthorn Auto Sales. Man, Andy Cawthorn just, I mean, anything Bacon County athletics, they always support, and I just can't thank them enough. Clean Air and Electric, Andy Batten. He's very involved in the Touchdown Club. Has went out and done a lot of work for us, comes to every single game, and just a great upstanding member of the community. I'm glad we have people like him and businesses like his, and it's a direct reflection of our program, and I think where we want to go and the excellence that, we want to strive for.
There's no doubt.
So in the second half, I'll kind of cover some of our bronze members. I know you guys don't want to sit here and listen, for 15 minutes with going over these, but they are important, and we do want to get them some recognition, and we want you guys to, to hear these company names and these people names so we can get out and let them know just how much that we appreciate them. Coach, we missed last week. We had Toombs County here at home, and I have to say they were, I had mixed feelings about them. I was looking at some of the previous games, the scores that they had, so, I knew they wasn't a super high scoring, team, and then I watched some film on them on Huddle and saw that they did spread it out some, and I was like, well, they have the potential to get out there and, and score some points, and but they were, all in all, they were pretty solid. They had two really good players that I felt like that really shined, and then, up front, they were solid. They did their jobs.
That's right.
They got after it, and they seemed to be very disciplined.
And that's, that is Toombs County's team. Offensively and defensive line wise, there wasn't just any superstars out there, but they were well coached. They played hard. You can tell they were had put their time in the weight room, and then they were physically strong.
They were that, and you could see it. I mean, you could, each of their players, as I looked at them standing on the sideline, I mean, you could definitely see that definition and tone throughout their whole team. I mean, it's something I think that they've taken a lot of pride in. I see it on Twitter a lot too. I follow their Twitter feed just to kind of keep up. You may ask Raider Nation, why do I follow their Twitter feed? I follow everybody in our region. I want to see what they're putting out, and and see.
Well, they have multiple 300-pound plus power
Yes.
cleaners, and that's obviously something we're building towards here. What they do might not always be flashy, but it is going to be physical, and they got a good team.
Yeah.
There's things I felt like we could have taken better advantage of during the course of the game, and we tried in certain spots, but they did a good job to their credit, and they got away from us.
Well, Coach, one thing that I noticed that you changed coming into that game, it seemed like you had a starting 22 versus playing a lot of players both ways. What was your reasoning behind going to that process and changing coming into that game and what we were trying to do?
I wanted to create more starters on both sides of the ball. Guys going both ways, that's great, but after the first quarter, that guy that's a backup is probably going to do just as good a job as the guy that's playing both ways and tired. Not only that, we're building more depth for the future. So out of the 22 guys that we're starting, 18 will return next year. And I think that's important. I think, when we're in a situation where we're trying to build, we need to create as much depth and experience as we can.
Yeah.
And so that was the philosophy behind it, and some of the guys got an opportunity, did some good things, and got an opportunity to start again the following week against Swainsboro.
And Coach, I guess it's just, for those out there, we're in a result now, I would say a now type society where, we want to see results now. We know you want to win. We know you didn't go into Toombs County or allow Toombs County to come here with anticipation to say, all right, we're going to take a loss.
No, never.
It's more of a, we've got to get that depth going and get some momentum where when we do put in backups, and is there going to be a time that you may play some of those players a little more both ways as,
Yeah.
as you get this depth built up.
And there's times if there's a need, we're going to do that. But the thing is, you know, we weren't having a ton of success playing those guys both ways. They were getting wore down. The result was the same, if not worse. I would say that over the last 2 weeks, we've gotten more out of more guys because they're only playing primarily on one side of the ball. I think that's been reflected in some of the output. Now, has there been some growing pains, especially with some of our younger guys and sophomores and freshmen that we've put on the field? Absolutely. Will we reap benefits for that later, you know, after they're 2 and 3 year and 4 year starters? Absolutely. Nobody likes going through the process of baking the cake. They just like eating at the end.
Yeah.
And, you know, right now we're mixing the ingredients. And I know that that's not fun for people. We're not going out there with the intention to lose. I got kids working hard every day. They're working hard in the weight room. My coaches are working hard every day. We're putting together good game plans, offensively and defensively. It's just currently where we're at.
Yeah.
And you can sit there and not like it, and I don't like it, and you can pout about it, or you can wake up the next day, put your work boots back on, make a decision, and try to improve.
Yeah.
And so that's what we're doing, and I don't have any illusions that it's tough. My staff doesn't, the kids don't. But the ones that stay will be champions. And there's no doubt in my mind. We're going to continue to work that way till we build and get what we want. You know, a lot of people forget the first year Saban was at Alabama. I think they lost to like Louisiana Monroe.
Yeah.
You know, and he was the worst coach in the world. You know, and 4 championships later, he's all right.
Yeah.
4 or 5 or 6 or how many he has there.
Right.
So, and I'm not saying I'm Nick Saban by any means, because I'm not. But what I'm saying is there's a process to things.
Yeah.
And there's a way to go about them and build up the program, and that's what we're going to do.
You know, this region, we've got some pretty big measuring sticks when, you know, currently, Coach, I look at the top 10 in the state, and we've got 3 teams in our region sitting in the top 10 in the entire state. And you've got, what, 8 regions in state play? And when you've got 3 teams that we have to go against and compete, like the Valdeas and the Swainsboros, and, you know, Jeff Davis is as a newcomer coming into that top 10 and being in there, and we've got good measuring sticks to see what we've got to. In Toombs County, a solid program that's not, you know, I'm not going to take credit away from them, but they're very well disciplined in the weight room. They were very well disciplined on the field.
Coach Marsh is going to do a great job.
Yes.
He is, and I've known him for years, and he's a high character guy that's going to have them playing with character and class. I think a lot of their program, and you know, they played hard. It was a clean game, and you know, they were just better than us right now.
And you know, and I saw some good things on the football field. You know, that we did have later in the game. We got some progression going. Even early in the game, we had some progression moving along. It's just going to get to a point where we can finish that progression.
That's right.
And capitalize on that progression. You know, and I want to kind of switch into the Swainsboro real quick, but you know, we'll do that in the second half. But Coach, what would you say your biggest takeaway, positively, or a positive influence that you took away from the Toombs County game?
You know, just offensively, you know, I wish we would have finished that first drive. But when we come out, you know, you can see that the kids are understanding the game plan and the concepts, and then what we're wanting to accomplish. You know, as we move down the field, we got to learn how to finish a little bit better than what we have on some drives. But you can tell that they're understanding the concepts and what we're wanting to accomplish. Now it's physically being able to do them time and time again and not getting wore down, and that's just going to be age, experience, and weight room as we get stronger and more physical.
I got you. Well, Coach, I know it's tough for anybody to come in here and, and to take a loss, and I know our Raiders, but again, I think I saw some positive attitudes after the game. I was pleasantly surprised with feeding the players, and I think some players saw themselves get better. Some players told me I think they realized where they're making mistakes, and they felt like they could come in the next week and start fixing them. Those things I like to see. I like to, be away from you and the players around you and just get a little feel of what their post-game response is. And a lot of times you can get a little feedback or a feeling of what's going on. I think they believe in what's going on. I think they believe in what they're doing. And I think it's going to continue to get better. There's no doubt in my mind.
Well, I mean, I think, we're encouraging them. We know that they're learning a lot right now, and we're asking them to, play a little different and do some things that, maybe they hadn't done in the past. And some of them, we know they haven't because, they never stepped on the field on a Friday night before.
Yeah.
And so, like I said before, we understand where we're at. We played, I think, 5 or 6 freshmen, 5 or 6 sophomores. And when over half your team is on Friday night as freshmen and sophomores, that's tough.
Yeah.
But with that being said, it won't be tough forever.
Yeah.
Those guys are getting a lot of experience. Be careful how you whoop us now, because we're going to have the opportunity to whoop you later.
That's right. And some of those, sometimes coaches forget towards the end of the game, and they score late in games when they're up 30 points or whatever that, that could possibly come back to them one day.
Well, I'm a big believer in, showing class and taking a knee. When you're not out there to embarrass other kids. With that being said, I guess if I was a lower character guy, there'd be a couple that would be on a list right now.
Yeah. Well, Coach, I know where your character's at, and I know that you're going to hold our players to the highest character, and it speaks volumes on the sidelines and what we got going on and what you guys are trying to do. And I've seen a big shift in our coaching staff where they are fire and brimstone, and they are coaching them up. And I like to see when the kids come to the sidelines and the coaches getting them and talking to them. But it's a lot more, too, of just straight character as much as it is as X's and O's of what we should be doing and what comes out of our mouth and what our body language is.
And that's another growing part that we're at right now. We are teaching, character as much as, if not more sometimes, than X's and O's. And when you're changing a culture, that's a part of it.
Yeah.
And when they come to the sideline, one thing about creating, 22 starters or as close to it, as we could be, we have an opportunity to make corrections, with the iPad we have on the sideline, and so we have an opportunity to correct a little more things we see going on offensively and defensively as an entire group. Which I think is helpful, especially when you're playing so many young guys. We got 3 sophomores on the offensive line, or
So that's what's going on. I've had people ask, like, why are the guys sitting on the bench? Usually because some guys are coming over. That's your starting 11. You get them a rest time, and and if you see teams like Warner Robins or Coffee County, they've got a 10 on the sideline. Correct. And they take that offensive group or that defensive group over there.
And eventually, if we can continue to do that, we're going to build a cart with a TV and hook the iPad to it, and then we'll take that, the next step with that. But that'll probably be a next year deal. Right now, I'm just showing them the plays on the iPad when I want to show them something that needs to be corrected.
Yeah. All right, well, Raider Nation, we're going to take a real quick break and get our sponsors a little recognition, and we'll be right back with you shortly after the break. Welcome back to the Coach's Show. Coach, that's the thing about doing live. I get confused and I want to say the Red Raider. It's the Red Raider Coach's Show, and I almost want to say Red Raider Radio. Raider Nation, we do not have a script. This is not a script or a format, so I do apologize if we do stumble up every time. But I say that, you would think by now that I'm used to it. But anyway, I apologize. Welcome back to the Red Raider Coaches Show. I'm your host, Joe Hayes, and this is our head coach, Keith Goss. And our first half, we kind of went over talking about Toombs County and a little bit of the direction of where Coach is taking the team and some changes that they decided on as a coaching staff to do and implement, as starting 22, and he kind of went into detail of, what that's about. Coach, this half I want to, let's talk about Swainsboro, and then we can just touch briefly on, our opponent coming up this Friday night. But before we do that, I want to run down these bronze sponsors real quick. I want to thank Outback Entertainment, Gophers Southern Cooking and Barbecue, Chrissy's Creations, Roadrunner Truck Stop, Kim Anderson and Dr. Galay, Satilla Rheumatology and Internal Medicine, Cohen's of Alma, Chuck and Pam Bonnier, RSB Forestry, Alma Police Department, F&B South, Scott Pools, MGN Detailing, Southern Sand, Axle Surgeons, Dairy Queen, Ideal Cleaners, Southeast Propane, Boatwright Trucking, Alma Auto Sure, Satilla River Teas, Orthopedic Surgeons of Georgia, CRH Oncology Group, and CRH Cardiology Group. Another outstanding list of sponsors that are a big part of our program. So Raider Nation, if you heard one of those names, if you happen to be in one of their businesses, please, please, please let them know how much you appreciate, or we appreciate their support.
Absolutely.
Coach, we go over to Swainsboro Friday night, and pretty good ride. It's probably about, 2 hours by bus?
Yeah, it was about an hour and 45.
Okay.
Around there.
I think the weather was perfect. Everything, set into place, and everything seemed to kind of be in sync. I kind of joked with some of our fans. I was standing there talking before the game. I said, guys, it's full moon. We don't know. Anything could happen tonight. I know school teachers know what I'm talking about, but
It's a little different sometimes.
It's kind of like the ER. They have their own, things stories they tell about on full moons, and everybody has babies. But I really went into that thinking that anything could happen, type of mentality, and in that first half it did. I saw a lot of improvement with a lot of our guys, and was really impressed with what I saw going on up front and the blocks and quarterback and receivers and our defense. We actually made some stops. So, let's go there. Let's start on we took possession first. No, correction. They took possession first. So let's talk about defense first.
Okay.
What happened there. I know what they did on the first drive, but what we did in the first half, we kind of made some adjustments.
We did make some adjustments to try to take away their two very talented receivers, and it really slowed them down in the first half. We actually went a little smaller, went with a three-man line, and did something. It's been in our package, but. Put another younger guy on the field, actually put another freshman on the field. I think at one point Friday night, maybe 4 out of our 5 defensive backs in the game were freshmen, which is, kind of scary, but kind of awesome for the future. It's been one of those things that, some young guys have stepped up, and they're trying to help the team and find ways to help the team, and that's exciting and encouraging, especially for our future. And several of them are going to play a lot more throughout the rest of this season.
Yeah.
And I'm proud of their efforts. But we went with a three-man line and did things a little different. Put a little, some of those younger guys on the field that can run pretty decent. and gave them an opportunity to help us out, and some of them did.
Yeah. Coach, defensively, I felt like the first half we did pretty well. The second half, what do you think happened? What adjustments did they make? And, what kind of let that get away from us?
Honestly, we made some mistakes on offense to put defense in a bad spot. I think defense probably played, their best game to date. Offensively, coming out in the second half, we threw 2 picks, and we got to be a little better at protecting the ball. My quarterback, who had a lot of pressure on him because of the talent of their D-line.
Yeah.
Number 71 for them is a special guy, and he played that way. There were several plays where we had a lot of guys blocked up, but he was a very tough one to block. He might have only been about 5'9", 5'10" on a good day, maybe in his cleats, but that joker's a solid muscle. He's very, explosive, and he got after us.
Yeah.
I'm not going to take anything away from that kid because he single-handedly stopped, I want to say 5 or 6 plays by himself. And, we moved it around, we brought in different guys on him, and the result was the same. Tried to block down on him with our best guy. He beat him with speed. And so we did things trying to take him away, and to that kid's credit, we slowed him down some in the second quarter, but he didn't stay slowed down.
Yeah.
And that's a credit to him. I mean, he's going to be a guy that hopefully somebody out there in college gives an opportunity if his grades are right, because let me tell you, that guy's an explosive player.
Yeah. Well, one thing I noticed about Swainsboro, I almost feel like that they were the most vocal team of any team that we played. They definitely was not shy with the chatter of giving it to our players vocally, and rightfully so. I mean, they were good. I always say, if you're going to boast, then you better be able to back it up, and and a lot of their players were really able to back it up.
Yeah, some of those guys that are talented, they'd like to tell you they're a little talented, but I'll be honest, I really didn't think they were as bad as some other people we've played.
But I just heard more chatter coming from them.
Yeah,
maybe they were a little louder.
They might have spoken a little louder, but
yeah.
I kind of disagree. I don't think they might have been more vocal with how loud they were, but character-wise, I think.
No, they did. I actually, as far as character-wise, probably one of the better Swainsboro teams that I think
I've ever coached against.
Yeah, they it really impressed me from what I've seen, even from basketball that tells me coaching is doing a really good job of handling that because I think before in the past it has been an issue with them, but we just did not see it there. They were just a little more vocal, like I said, but but that's for us it's one of those things that I think is things these younger players have got to learn to take, and if somebody can talk all they want, they can say whatever they want to say, and they can call you mama whatever they want to call you mama, but at the end of the day, scoreboard, and
you got to play your game, and then obviously if it's getting out of hand, the referees have to control it. But there's been worse chatter in some other games from some other teams that we've played. No, I would say Swainsboro did a really good job. They have some talented guys, and they got the ball in their hands, especially on the perimeter. The running back did a great job, carrying the ball for him. The quarterback is a very talented guy. Like I said, number 71 on defense, that he's a difference maker.
Yeah.
And he was for them Friday night.
Offensively, Coach, we talked about defense a good bit. The first half, our offense was able to have some good drives and actually move the ball a good bit. The second half, more negatives than there were positive, like you said, because of the turnovers, but we did score a touchdown in the second half. So let's kind of go over what
Well, the first two drives we stalled, and really we're just trying to figure out. We saw them on film, thought we had a decent plan for them up front, but really trying to figure out how to get around 71 up front there. That guy's a tremendous player, and so we eventually, after those first two drives, got something going positive in the second quarter. Drove down, kicked a field goal, and we drove down and kicked a second field goal, and right there before about a minute to go in half, it was 14-6, and they ended up getting one by us, and right there before halftime.
Yeah.
And we got the ball coming out the start of the third quarter, and really didn't continue to click. We kind of stalled out again. Yeah. And from that point, we had a couple first downs and hit them for a big play for a touchdown, but really there was two turnovers that were very costly. One was being a pick six. The other one, I think the ball was returned inside the 5 or 10 yard line. So really, you can't even put that on the defense. Yeah. That's offense not protecting the ball, and we're all a team. Don't get me wrong. Offense, defense, it's all one. We're all one team. But they got put in a bad spot there. I don't think the score was necessarily indicative of how well the defense played the majority of the night. And even in the fourth quarter, they were playing with great energy and excitement, and our kids are learning how to continue to push, and I'm proud of that.
Yeah.
The one thing that we really said after the game when I talked with the coach from Swainsboro is, as coach, you can tell the kids are playing hard for you. Yeah. And he goes, I know you're young, but they're playing hard for you. And I just told him thank you, and got our guys over to the bank.
Yeah. Well, Coach, I know it's tough to go on the road. I know it's tough for a lot of our players, but my takeaway from that game was we didn't quit. And,
right.
I'm not saying we haven't got bruised up and banged up hard in previous games we played. They played us just as hard as Toombs played us. They laid licks on us just as hard as some of the other teams we did. But, our players hung in there. We held our heads high, and, and we finished the game. Whether it was, we wanted to win, we come away with a loss, but right now, finishing games and not hanging our heads down and not quitting, we're at that point that the players are working, they are trying, they are improvement. Right. I did see a lot of improvement on both sides of the ball.
Right. I'm not disappointed in our guys. They're working and they're trying to get better. We're a lot younger than a lot of teams we're playing against right now, and that shows, physically, maturity-wise. So it's going to take time. Yeah. And that's the reality. And that's not fun for the fan base to hear. I understand that. But I do think we're doing things the right way. I do think we're building the foundation on solid ground. And, I look for things to continue to climb.
And Coach, one thing is, it's very rare that I say it's rare, a lot of times you don't see a lot of progression in the weight room once season starts.
We're going to continue to lift.
Winter, spring, summer, that's your big weight room time. But you guys are actually continuing to see some pretty big increases in the weight room. I think my son, his max went up 30, 40 pounds. Mm-hmm. This is my son's fourth season. You don't typically see a kid during the season because they're
banging, their body's recovering.
That's right.
The gains in season are never as good as the gains out of season, but you can still make gains in season if you're committed to the weight room
and nutrition.
And nutrition, I'm a big believer in that. And we still have a long way to go strength-wise, but I do feel like we're closing the gap. And we're going to continue to do so. I'm very proud of where some of our freshmen are strength-wise for freshmen. The fact that they are competing on the field and physically able to.
Yeah.
You know, we had a good foundation from the middle school, and then we've continued to build on.
Good deal. Well, Coach, this coming week, we're going to travel to Metter, correct? Or are they coming here?
They're coming
Actually
here.
coming here. I got it mixed
Yeah,
up.
you got me mixed up.
Yeah,
And I was
my bad.
like, no, I'm pretty
No, they're
sure.
coming here. So we've
They're
got
coming
Metter.
to us.
Yeah, we went to them last year. So they're coming here. You know, you guys did film review Saturday and worked on it yesterday, the coaching staff. You know, what can we expect? And, you know, I know you guys have practice today and you guys started working on them. What can we expect to see from Metter, and, you know, what kind of packages are they going to bring? And
Offensively, they're you know, base wing T. Defensively, you know, they play a lot of one safety high. They're going to play like a cover 3 shell, and you know, they're going to give that either 4-2 or bump it over and try to give it a 3-4 look. But they, you know, according to what they feel like they can do, what you're trying to do, they make some adjustments. And, you know, we have our game plan in on how we're going to adjust to it. But they're another team that's got a, you know, very talented guy up front. You know, a very good defensive lineman, really 2 of them. They really play at both ends. And so, you know, that'll be a challenge this week for us as well.
I got you. Well, Coach, I know you guys will work on it all week this week on what we got to do to slow them down and stop them, and for our Red Raiders to go in there and compete hard. And Raider Nation, you know, we really want our fan base to come out. This is senior night, correct?
This is rec department night.
Rec department.
Rec
I
department.
guess I need my list in front of me. You know, we're going off memory here. My memory is not serving me too well tonight. But anyway, so rec department night. I don't know why I was thinking it was senior night, Coach, but anyway, so it's rec department night. So we're going to have
then we'll be open, senior night, and then away for game 2.
Okay. Well, I'm going to say I think rec department night, Coach, is probably one of my favorite nights of all season. You know, to me, the children and, you know, in our program as a whole, from rec all the way up to high school, is my favorite thing to see. All these little kids come. They're super proud. They're all wearing their little State Farm, you know, Bacon County shirts,
That's right.
or jerseys, and you know, the ATC jerseys and the FMB South jerseys, and you know, they're really working hard down there. We've got some really good coaches down at the rec department level, and the coaches get to bring them up. And to me, I think my favorite part is when our Red Raiders come out and they get to walk through those kids and just seeing their faces and that joy and that excitement and how they look up to them. You know, I remember back to my days when I was little, and you know, and seeing our varsity players come out and just, you know, it was kind of that bigger than life
That's right.
type thing. And you know, and all I could think of was, I can't wait till I'm that big one day. You know, and some of these guys, you look at them, you know, you see a little kid and they see big Christian Gurley come out and they're just like, whoa, you know,
Yeah,
that he's the biggest guy in the world, you know, and it's just exciting for me because I get a joy with seeing how much excitement these kids have, and for our community, it's big too. You know, moms and dads, get your kids out here, get them involved, you know, bring them around, you know, let them look up to these kids. These kids are working hard, you know, our varsity players, and they're doing a lot, and this coaching staff is doing a lot to work with these guys. And you know, I think these little kids have got reason to look up to these boys, and you know, that work effort and that discipline that you guys are instilling in them, and you know, that's something that your kids can, you know, look at and strive on as they grow and build in their athletic abilities, and if they're not even athletes, in their daily lives. So please, I encourage you to come out, get your children involved, come see what we got going on, come support our Red Raiders, cheer them on. I know our diehard faithful will continue to be here, Coach. And, again, I'm super excited to be here. I apologize for a little not having my schedule or anything written down right
That's
here in
all
front
right.
of me. So it's been a long day. Monday nights threw us off. I'm used to Sunday nights, Coach. Got a little time to sit down before I come to go over everything, make sure I got all my ducks in a row. So Raider Nation, we appreciate your patience. Red Raider Broadcasting, we thank them for all that they do to help us put this presentation on. And Coach, again, we thank you and your coaching staff for all that you guys do. And we just look forward to being here Friday night at the Big Red Monster and cheer on our Red Raiders.
Absolutely.
Raider Nation, we'll catch you on the next episode.
In this moment, it doesn't matter if you save money in 15 minutes or if your neighbor has the same insurance that you do. What matters right now is the quality of your independent insurance agent and the company that stands behind them. Auto Owners Insurance.
Bennett, Bennett & Johnson Insurance Agency in Alma is your local independent auto owners insurance agency.